Good afternoon. Welcome back to the podcast Journey to Well. So today is a fun one because I've known Monique for a while. She was in a group that I was in a part of a group as well. And we did some human design work together, and I know your story a little bit. So it's always fun to have conversations with people that I have a longer relationship history with. Monique is a psychic medium. She's an intuitive counselor with over a decade of experience. She really helps individuals connect to their inner guidance and their loved ones in spirit. And we're really going to talk about two things, I think, today, although we'll see what comes up, right? But
Exactly.
really interesting to talk about mediumship. I haven't had a lot of conversations on the podcast about that. And then always my one of my favorite things to talk about is your intuition and how to strengthen the intuition and how to tap into our intuition. What is our intuition? So we have so many fun things to talk about, but first, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, Monique. And I'm going to let you introduce yourself, maybe a little bit about your story and your journey to what got you here today.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Hannah, for having me. This is great. Yeah, my story. Okay, so I'm a psychic medium, as you said. Did I ever plan to become a psychic medium? Absolutely not. This was not something that I woke up one morning and said, you know what, I think my career is going to be being a psychic medium and connecting to the other side. Like that never crossed my mind, of course. And that is the story for most mediums. They never make a conscious decision to do this work. I was led to this work, like literally step by step. I didn't know where it was going, but this is where it ended up me doing this professionally. So I grew up with a very spiritual mom. So this was normal for me. Like mom was always reading books on psychic abilities, on mediumship, on spirituality, books about Sylvia Brown and, all of the people that started, in this realm many years ago. She had all the books. I still have most of her books, which is really cool
Oh,
because I go back and read them once in a while. My mom is way ahead of her time, definitely, because I was from a small French Catholic town. So mediumship, psychic abilities, and all that stuff was never talked about, like ever. And mom, now that I think back, mom absolutely was psychic and absolutely was a medium. But back then, we just didn't have the words to explain it.
yeah.
Okay. So that was all normal for me growing up, spirituality. So it
Mm.
wasn't, a huge step for me when I started opening my own abilities. But that was only about probably 15 years ago, I really opened up my own abilities, and that came from struggles that I was having with my one of my children.
Mm.
And because my youngest daughter is very, very sensitive, she is ultra sensitive empath, I call them. Can feel and sense everything. So she's been able to feel the spirit world ever since she's a little girl, as I was able to do that as well. And I was helping her through this, okay, trying to teach her what she could do to calm her sensitivities, to trust that everything's okay, because she could feel like not just the spirit world, but other people's emotions. So if there's many empaths listening out there, you'll know what I'm what I'm talking about. That it's hard being an empath and walking in this world because you can just feel so much.
Yeah.
So I just taught her how to protect her energy, and then that kind of led me to realizing my own abilities and kind of nurturing and growing those. And then one thing led to another. I just started reading psychic books and doing fun exercises from the psychic books, and then I kind of started getting into mediumship and doing exercises with that, and ended up taking classes with wonderful, wonderful teachers, and it just kind of led me to the point where I'm at now. So yeah,
Wow.
never a conscious choice that I
Yeah.
made to do this, but I'm glad that I am in this work. I love it.
Yeah. Oh, what a fun journey, especially having your daughter kind of be that mirror for you
Hmm.
as well and opening up maybe a little bit more invitation and opportunity for you to explore your gifts and what's going on with
Exactly.
world energetically and spiritually. I think I definitely know a lot of, not a lot, a decent amount of people that would consider themselves empaths. And even if they wouldn't, I mean, that's okay if you don't maybe subscribe to that languaging. But you said something interesting of helping your daughter learn how to protect her energy. And I am a huge supporter, whether you are an empath or not, or whether you feel that you're very energetically sensitive or not. I'm a huge supporter of learning how to protect your energy. So I'm curious if you could expand on that and share a little bit of maybe even your favorite tools of how you,
Sure.
because of course you need to protect your own energy too in all of the work that you do. So what are your kind of
Absolutely.
go-tos or the ones that work the best for you?
Well, yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that you don't have to be, an empath to protect your energy. Anyone should protect their energy, whether you're empathic or not, honestly. So it's really a matter of having the awareness that you are sensitive, or the awareness that you can feel other people's emotions and things, or even the spirit world, and just having the awareness that, okay, now I'm going to make a conscious effort to use tools to help me lessen those energies that are sometimes coming right at you like daggers. Like, I know if I walk into a room and there's somebody that's in a really bad mood, or somebody that's just not happy, it's like daggers coming at me. I don't know how it feels for you, Hannah, because I do feel you're very sensitive as well. But and I'm sure for most people that's how it feels. So really just having the awareness of, before going out in the world in the morning, when you get up, when you wake up, just you visualize this a beautiful bubble of white protective light around you. I always call in Archangel Michael. That's my guy. I'm a big believer in angels as well, and that they're around us to help us and guide us in our lives. So I always connect Archangel Michael, and I always ask him, please, place a bubble of white protective light surrounding me today, so that I can go through the day with ease and with grace. You can call upon whomever you're comfortable with. It doesn't have to be Archangel Michael. Water is very cleansing, okay, and protect our energy as well. So if you feel like just if you've come home at the end of the day and you're just feeling so heavy, you're feeling agitated, you're feeling tired, unfocused, we all know that taking a bath or a shower is very cleansing and clearing. So that is also another way of protecting your energy, because after you've cleansed and cleared, your energy is then back to where it should be, kind of at a more stable, balanced state. Okay. So water is very cleansing. Um, Another way to protect your energy is, carrying like stones. I know it sounds hard to believe, but stones and crystals are very cleansing and protective. So, a dark stone will help to ground you and protect you. So, and you can wear it on your, as jewelry. You can put it in your purse, can put it in your pocket. It does not have to be, you don't have to carry it around in your hands, but just having stones or crystals around you, their vibrations will help to cleanse, clear, and protect your energy as well. So when we protect our energy, it kind of cleanses and clears it at the same time. It's kind of a dual thing.
Hmm.
Okay. So sometimes one overlaps into the other. So another way of protecting our energy is simply being aware of cutting energy cords. So
Mm,
I often cut energy cords. I don't know if you've done this before,
yeah.
but if you feel you've taken in, again, somebody else's stuff, which we all tend to do, just close your eyes. Again, just it's about having the awareness to do this, and make a conscious effort to just simply say something like, I'll always ask Archangel Michael, of course, but Archangel Michael, please cut all energy cords that are not serving me at this time from, if you want to name the specific person, or I will say from all people, places, and things that may have accumulated in my auric field today. And it is done, and just trust that it will be done. So it's just little tidbits of information that anyone can use throughout the day to protect their energy
Mm.
and cleanse it and cleanse it.
Yeah, those are all really great examples. And I remember when I kind of I f- when I started doing more of my work in my business, I feel like that's when I need to protect my energy the most because I'm giving out so much
Sure.
energy. So this is really the past few years have been where I've been more hyper focused on ways that I can protect my energy and clear my energy and all of that. And I remember when I first started learning it, there's always that little, I call it very healthy skepticism, but there's always that little part of me that is very skeptical of like, okay, I can just say like cut these cords, or I can just take a shower and all of this energy is just, being washed away and cleansed away. And that's a big life theme in my life, is to learn it gets to be easy and it can be that simple and it doesn't have to be overcomplicated. But I'm curious if
Exactly.
you have clients that you've worked with that have kind of maybe had some reservations or resistance towards these tools, or if you've even experienced that in your life, or what you would even say to people that are listening that are like, yeah, is it really that easy? Can it be that simple?
You know, it really is that easy. It's all about not we always complicate things, right? We have to get back to the basics and we need to
Yeah.
simplify and we need to trust that this will be done.
Mm,
Trusting is a huge component of adding all of these energetic tools into our lives. And
mm,
if we don't trust that it will be done, then you're going to have more trouble feeling it. And it's also about consistent effort.
mm,
Doing this every day, consistent effort is also a huge factor in really feeling the difference
mm,
of when you do go out into the world and you've protected your energy beforehand, as opposed to going out in the world and you haven't done anything. And after a while, you're going to notice this. It might be a subtle shift, but you will notice it. And it's really about, honestly, putting out the intention. Like, intention is huge in our lives. The intention we put out there will come back to us. So intend if you have the intention of being protected throughout the day, it will be done.
mm,
And if you have to reestablish the bubble of white protective light throughout the day, that's okay too. Okay,
mm,
so you do it when you need it. And I also wanted to mention deep breathing is also super important to cleanse, clear, and protect our energy.
mm.
You can be sitting at your desk at work. You don't have to let anybody know what you're doing. Can be very subtle. And just, you're not going to be announcing, excuse me, everybody, I'm going to be doing some deep breathing to cleanse my energy. But do you see what I'm saying? But it's just subtle things that you can do within your mind to help you. So just taking a few deep breaths. I'm a huge believer in deep breathing, and that always helps to ground and center us and brings us right back to the present moment. And that also will help to protect our energy. So just taking a few deep breaths, closing your eyes, and just, saying whatever intention you want throughout that deep breathing, and it will be done. So it's a matter
Mm,
of trusting, consistent effort, and you will eventually feel the subtle shifts that will happen in your life. And yeah,
I
and
love,
that's what I tell my clients, and
yeah.
that's what I've experienced, honestly.
Yeah, you're speaking all my love languages with breath work
I
and
can
deep
tell, I can tell.
breathing.
I know you're big into breath work. I know, and you're probably way more of a professional with the breath work than I am, but I do like the deep breathing. I do this before every session with my clients. I will do some deep breathing with them because a lot of them are nervous, apprehensive, which is normal, right? So that does
Yeah.
help.
Well, and it's such a good reminder once again that it doesn't have to be this long hour-long breathwork journey, or even,
Oh,
I have a video of a 15-minute breathwork journey that it's a daily practice. But even if 15 minutes is too long, just 5 minutes or 1 minute, and or just 10 breaths,
exactly.
whatever you can do. And that's a really beautiful reminder of what we're doing is really bringing ourselves back to the present moment. And I also really loved that you reminded us to have that consistency, and then noticing. I really love that. Of That's really what I tell my clients a lot, is like, I'm
Mhm.
not telling you what's going to work for you, but notice what you notice. Just be curious and
Exactly.
try this protective bubble, and then go throughout your day. And then maybe tomorrow you don't even think about it. And then halfway through the day, you're all, wired and stressed out
Mhm.
or feeling a little bit overwhelmed, and maybe something will come to mind of, oh, I didn't do my protective bubble. Maybe that does actually make a little bit of a difference, and trying it over and over again, and just noticing what you notice. I think that's a huge power that we have, that we
Mhm.
can really just kind of play our own detective and just witness ourselves throughout the day. And that's also bringing us back to the present moment, which is never a bad thing.
Oh gosh, no, like the present moment nowadays, it's such a valuable thing, isn't it? Because everyone is wants everyone wants instant. Everything is instant now. Especially with the cell phones and
Mm,
media and social platforms. Everybody needs to have everything right away. I wasn't raised like that. I wasn't raised with cell phones, I'm telling you. You
yeah.
know, I it just all of a sudden with all of these instant people just have no patience is what I'm trying to
Yeah.
say nowadays. They
Yeah.
want things now. And that's not how life happens. Life doesn't happen. Things are not going to come to you exactly the time you want it to come.
Mm,
You have to trust in divine timing and order, and
mm,
people need to just chill out and trust that things will unfold in their lives the way and when they're meant to. And staying in the present moment helps to
mm,
bring us back to being right here right now, and then knowing that okay, all is well, all is well. Things will happen in my life when they're meant to. I know I'm going right into something different right now, but
no, please.
so yeah, it's really about just um, staying present. Staying
Yeah.
present in our lives is super
Yeah.
important, and that's going to help cleanse, clear, protect our energy as well. Like everything overlaps.
Mm.
It seems to in spirituality in some way or another.
Mm. Always. I love having,
Always.
that's why I love having these conversations, is to always have this opportunity to make connections between, like, oh, this is how I say this, or this is my languaging, but everything really is interconnected.
Mm,
Speaking of interconnectedness, I want to talk about mediumship. I've
sure,
never
sure.
had a medium on the podcast, I don't believe. And I've never really worked with one. Um, and to be honest, I guess I just don't really know all that much about it. So I'm going to be educated just alongside everyone that's listening. But I'm very curious how that portion of your business goes. And of course, it's connected to your intuition. So, of course, we can have that conversation too, or we can kind of eventually get there. But let's kind of start just with your definition of mediumship, how that shows up for you in your life and your business, and then we can go from there.
Yeah, okay, so mediumship is I explain the process of how I work to my clients all the time for every session because I want people to feel comfortable and have somewhat of an understanding of how this energetic world works. So I just tell my clients the easiest explanation that I have in what I do is that I'm simply a language translator between worlds. Just think of me as a
Mm,
language translator. I'm a messenger between worlds.
wow.
So I will see, feel, hear, and sense information kind of all coming through at the same time. And that comes from my psychic abilities, which I have nurtured and opened up a few years before I was about 2 years before I got into mediumship. So
Mm,
you have to have your psychic abilities fairly open
mm,
to be able to feel and sense the spirit world. I mean, that's how it is for most people, although some people feel them right away without even. Some
wow.
people are born with their psychic abilities wide open, like my youngest daughter, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
So it's not, that's not for everyone, but for me, I had to open them and grow them so that then you can feel the spirit world coming in. So they communicate to me through my psychic abilities.
Mm,
I will see, feel, hear, and sense information, and it is my job to decipher what it is the spirit world is wanting to share with my clients at that time. So
mm,
it's like it's like playing charades with another dimension, really.
That sounds so wild. Do you have a lot of clients? I'm sure that you have kind of a mixed bag, but do you have a lot of clients that come to you that have this person in mind that they want to connect with or they want to talk to, or is it more beneficial to just come see you and see who shows up, what shows up, how it shows up?
Right. So that's another thing I add in my explanation is that I can't promise people who is going to line up on the other side. I don't know who's lining up and what they're going to say. So I always tell that to people. And to not have an expectation of how this should work, but
Mm,
to allow the reading to go the way it's meant to. So I always tell people, let go of your expectations
yeah.
and simply be open to receiving the information that you're meant to hear for your highest good and your highest healing today, because it's always about healing. That's the only reason I do this, honestly. It's such a healing component in someone's um, grieving journey, I'm going to say.
Wow.
Now, you have the grieving journey and then you have the healing journey. And those are two separate things. So it's normal to grieve and people should grieve. And there's never a specific time to grieve or how long the grieving should take. Everyone will grieve at different phases in different ways and in different lengths. And we need to respect that. And healing is another avenue
Mm,
that is different, but kind of under the grieving under the loss umbrella.
mm,
So healing can be done through knowing that your loved ones are not gone. So perhaps by just having your own experiences, because people are able to have their own experiences with their loved ones after they transition. You just have to be open to it.
yeah.
And when people are grieving very heavily, it's sometimes difficult because they will block the communication sometimes,
Mm,
or sometimes it'll be right in their face and they'll be like, okay, my mom's definitely here. There is no way that this could have happened without my mom being here. So it's different for everyone, and everyone needs to respect their own way of grieving. But once you notice different signs that the loved ones will sometimes share with you after they've transitioned, okay, if you've lost someone, just say thank you. Don't don't try and say it's your imagination. Don't try and say that it was wishful thinking. Simply
mm,
thank them. And there will be more signs coming to you. And if you want, even a clearer communication, that's when somebody might consider, after a few months of grieving, come to a medium, which is when I step in. So
okay.
I always tell people, don't go see a medium right after you've lost someone, because your grieving is often just too heavy,
Wow.
depending on the relationship, of course, but
Yeah.
sometimes it's always too heavy, especially at the start, and it can block or lower the link of communication. So I always tell people, wait at least 6 months to a year to see a medium
Mm,
before before you make that decision. And yeah, so the clients that come to me are usually always very open to this, obviously, because they seek
mm.
me out, right? So I don't even know what your original question was, because I just go with the flow. I just
I
go with the
don't
flow.
even
As you've noticed, I'm like going from one thing to the next, but
No,
yeah.
it's beautiful. No, I don't even remember my original question either. I was just listening. What I was thinking when you were saying the explaining kind of the grieving and the healing journeys is this must be such a delicate dance for you too, because anytime that we're able to hold space for people in in their grieving process and their grieving journey, which I would argue we're all going through some sort of grieving journey to different extents,
Yes.
depending on, it's not always, grief is not always losing someone either. So sometimes it's like this grief of a loss of a dream, or you lost a job, right? And you thought that you were on one
Absolutely.
life trajectory, and now that trajectory, that path that has been in your mind for so long is now gone. But of course, losing someone, that is a whole grief journey as well. And any time that someone is able to hold space for someone else during this like grieving and healing process, it must be such a delicate dance for you.
Yes, and that's when the cleansing, clearing, and protecting of my own energy comes
Um,
before a session and after. So I make sure that I honor my energy before and I honor my energy after, because during the session, I'm honoring my client's energy.
mm,
I'm honoring their energy, their emotions, their feelings.
yeah.
And this goes for intuitive guidance as well. It's not grieving, but like you said, grieving can take different forms at times. So that's why I also offer intuitive guidance, which is through my psychic senses. Mediumship is connecting to the other side, of course. So
Right.
everyone has yeah, everyone has their own journey in life and will grieve in different ways for different reasons,
Yeah.
like you
Yeah.
said. But
I
yeah, it is a delicate dance. It's again, it's about honoring my energy afterwards, and yeah.
I can imagine. Well, and you just put that so beautifully, like making sure that you're clearing and honoring your energy before and after, so then you can really hold your client's energy and hold space for them when you're working in a session with them. That's a really beautiful way to explain that.
Thank you. Thank
Um, so speaking of psychic
you.
abilities,
Yeah.
I followed someone on Instagram. I think this is where I heard it, or maybe it was in a book that I was reading or something, but this idea that we all have potential to tap into our psychic abilities. And I would love to hear your take on that. And then also, like kind of defining the like clairvoyance, clairsentience,
Mhm.
like does that
Sure.
matter, or is it just kind of this umbrella of psychic ability? Like I don't know. I feel like some people are like, "Oh, you don't really have to define all of the different kinds of psychic abilities." And then some people are like, "Okay, no, we need to know all of them to know which one maybe is our stronger sense."
Yeah. Yes, I tend to agree with what you just said. Okay, so I'll start with intuition. Like everybody has intuition.
Mm,
Everyone is born with this inner radar. Everyone is born with the inner radar, or this knowing of what direction they should be going, what direction they should be going on their path in life, whether it's a decision with a job, whether it's turning on the right road or the left road, like physically driving. Sometimes
mm,
you're driving, you're lost, and you're feeling, you know what, I should go right, and then you end up going left, and then there's a construction on the left side of do you see what I'm saying? So we've
yeah.
all gone through that. We all have an inner radar. We're born with that, whether people are aware of it or not, and
Mm,
whether people use their intuition or not, it's there. And everybody's felt and has had some type of experience with their intuition. Psychic ability is just a step further. It's really when you can connect with your outward compass. So intuition is your inward compass, and psychic abilities is your outward compass. So that's connecting to something and senses, that's connected to information outside of you, which we all have the potential to
mm,
develop. We absolutely do, because we're all born with psychic abilities. We all have it. We
mm,
are all born with psychic senses, but it's a matter of whether you are aware and want to open and nurture them more. And then you mentioned some psychics say you don't have to know, some psychics say you should. I kind of agree. Like, first of all, everybody will have one or two stronger psychic senses than the other.
mm,
So you're either going to like feel or sense naturally and more. So that's your clairsentience, where your solar plexus is, right under your rib cage. Between your rib cage and your navel is your solar plexus.
mm,
Okay. So some people will be stronger in that area. Some people will have like just a knowing, just like a clear knowing. It's like, I
mm,
don't know how I know this, but I just know this with 100% certainty. A lot of people have had that. So that's your clear cognizance. So some people might be clearer and stronger in some of their in one or two psychic abilities over the others.
mm,
And then they can nurture those. You see what I'm saying? They can learn to nurture those if they choose. So that's why it's kind of important to know which abilities are stronger than the others if you are open to nurturing and growing them. If you're not, then I guess it doesn't matter. So they're both right. The psychics are both right. It's all about what people choose,
Yeah.
because you can nurture your psychic abilities and your intuition for your own guidance in life. You don't have to nurture and grow them to be a professional psychic or to do it professionally. You can do it for your own guidance in life, which is
Mm.
absolutely valuable,
Yeah.
uh, in someone's path here. So,
Yeah. I love that you said that because it doesn't always have to be becoming, making this a whole business or becoming a psychic. It could
no,
just be
no,
using it in your own life and having that more of that authority in your decision making process and
really.
really trusting like this is what I'm feeling, this is really what's coming to me, and I've already developed this clairsentience or whatever. So is there just those two? Because I've obviously heard other terms, or are those kind of, you're saying those are the two larger ones?
Not necessarily. I just picked those out of
Oh,
I just picked those out just as an example. But no, we have four very strong we have four natural strong psychic abilities. So we have four psychic abilities, four or five. So we have claircognizance, which is connected to the crown chakra, which is the inner knowing. So that's claircognizance. But some people will connect to their inner knowing through their gut. So it depends on people, on where you for me, my inner knowing comes here. I can feel it. The information just drops right here, right
wow.
from the top of my head down. So I can feel it. But some people will feel it in their gut. So it's connected to their solar plexus, which is in their gut. Okay. So I know I'm confusing some people here. So I'm going to start from the top. So your crown chakra is connected to, for me, my claircognizance, which is your inner knowing. Okay. Clairvoyance is connected to your third eye chakra, which is right in between the eyebrows, which is the psychic ability of clear seeing. So that means seeing images within your mind's eye. So you know where you have your imagination. So if you close your eyes and you visualize a red apple, right? Everybody can do that. Well, this is where the images for clairvoyance will come in. This is where I get all my clairvoyance images when I'm connecting. It's right there.
Mm.
It's in your imagination.
Mm.
So that's really interesting, right? Because some people will say, oh, it's just my imagination, but your imagination is
Wow.
very powerful.
Yeah.
So that's where clairvoyance resides, and that's where it will send the images, the patterns, the colors, whatever messages that you will receive through your clairvoyance, which is right here between the eyebrows. And then you have your throat chakra right here. That's connected to our clear hearing, which is our clairaudient. Okay. So, you might hear a thought in your head and you can be like, where the heck did that come from? And it resonates with you. So often that'll be your guides, your angels, especially
Mm.
if it needs to be a thought that is light, beautiful, and you can feel that it's for your highest good, right?
Okay.
And it'll come with your own voice, and that's what can get confusing at first. Because when I first started opening up my clairaudient, which is my clear hearing, it comes through in your own voice, so it gets confusing because you think you're making it up, right?
Mm.
So again, it's all about practicing and trusting. So I had to practice with practice clients to get the validation that whatever I was getting was actually, you
Wow.
know, coming from spirit. But that's a whole other conversation, or topic, I should say. So then, okay, so I did my claircognizance, clairvoyance, clairaudient, and then the last one is clairsentience, which is connected to the gut, which is feeling and sensing center. And everyone has it, like everyone can feel and sense stuff. Okay, so that's connected to your your clairsentience.
Yeah. I know there's so many confusing. Thank you for going through that. But that's really
I
cool that
know
they're connected to chakras too.
they are. They yeah, absolutely are. Yes, they are
Hmm.
connected to our energetic centers of our chakras. Yes.
And so you said, when I was working on opening my clairaudience, walk me through that. So people that are obviously I'm guessing if you clicked on this podcast, you're interested in intuition and psychic and mediumship and all these
All
things,
that fun stuff.
all the fun things, all the spiritual stuff. So
Yeah.
the listeners and also myself, if we're wanting to develop or strengthen, or you're using the language of like opening up, how do we go about starting? Where do we start? How do we start?
So the way I started is I simply started reading a lot of books on psychic abilities.
Mm,
And I couldn't get enough information. I was like a sponge, Hannah.
yeah.
I had never had that in my life. I always, because I know that's why I know I was meant to be on this path, because I couldn't get enough information. I read book after book after book about psychic abilities and how to nurture them, grow them, develop them. And it's just about exercises, doing exercises connected to each psychic ability and just being, again, consistent effort. I practiced and practiced and practiced and practiced and until I was able to, get into what I'm doing today. But yeah, it's just about it. It's almost about practicing.
Mm,
Our psychic abilities and our intuition is they're like a muscle. And the more you practice them, right, through exercises, the more it'll grow.
mm.
So yeah, our
I love
intuition and our
that
psychic
analogy.
abilities are like muscles. So
Yeah.
it's
I
all about.
definitely feel the like clairsentience, maybe even the claircognizance. In breathwork journeys, sometimes when I lead clients through breathwork journeys, sometimes people will share that they saw these beautiful colors or they saw these
Yes.
images or something like that. And so kind of it's reminding me more of that, the visual
There, clairvoyance.
clairvoyance. Thank you.
Clairvoyance.
Um, and I have never experienced, not in my personal breathwork journeys, even when you're just like close your eyes and picture an apple, that's when I feel like that's probably maybe the one that's the least developed for me, or the one that's most difficult for me to tap into. And I'm always so interested when people share like these journeys, and they'll, if it's a one-on-one breathwork journey, they'll have more time to go in depth of like these colors
Mhm.
and these images and these shapes, and like even the feeling, of course, that they got when they were witnessing these things. And
Yes.
it's always very interesting to me because that's the one that I'm like, good for you. I
But
don't know
listen,
how.
but it's okay because everyone's different, Hannah. So just because you don't have a strong clairvoyance yet, you can always
Mm,
open and develop it, right? You are probably you're probably more clairsentient. You probably feel and sense more, is
yeah.
what I'm feeling from you. So you have a stronger sentience,
Mm.
psychic ability. And I don't know if I feel you have an inner knowing as well. I kind of feel like you get information. You're like, I don't know how I know this, but I'm going to go with it.
Yeah, well, you said something interesting of like it just kind of like drops in when I'm driving. That's when I use that terminology actually of like I just get these like drop-ins. And yeah, I'm just driving and it's like
Exactly.
1 minute it's not there and 1 minute it's there. And it's just like
Perfect.
all of this wild clarity. So yeah, I definitely know what you
Yeah.
mean when you're describing.
Yeah, so that's exactly how it works, honestly. That's your clear cognizance, your inner knowing, and it does just drop in. And the reason you get it when you're driving is because when we're driving, it almost becomes like a meditative state.
Mm,
See what I'm saying? Like when you're driving, sometimes we'll drive, and I'm sure everybody's had this experience. Sometimes we'll drive, or I'll be driving, and all of a sudden I'll be at my destination. I'll be like, oh my God, I don't even remember getting here. Like that's kind of,
yeah.
but it's almost like your conscious takes a back seat and your subconscious takes over
Mm,
when this happens. And often that's often when I'm going to get my creative ideals or, a nudge or a psychic or an insight about something is when I'm driving as well, because it's just a mundane thing that we do every day. And it becomes just so secondhand that you almost get in a meditative state, just like washing dishes or doing dishes or folding laundry, right? It's just all these tasks that are mindless, and it kind
yeah.
of puts you right in that state where you can get all these great nudges of intuition, creativity, whatever you want to call it. So yeah.
Yeah, it's my favorite thing. It's just such a wild. Same with swimming for me. I do a lot of like
Oh
swimming laps
yes.
and because it's just very
Perfect.
repetitive and mundane and quiet. I mean, like you use the word meditative
Yes.
state when obviously when I meditate too, I get these downloads because it's just you're disconnecting from your phone, from everything else, all of your
Exactly.
to-do list activities, and you're just kind of being. And that's
You're
when the
being, yeah.
downloads just that's what I call them. I call them like downloads or drop-ins.
But
But
that's what they are. That's exactly, it's a perfect
yeah.
word. That's what I call them too. Downloads of information. Yeah, so you're very strong in your claircognizance, your
Mm,
clear knowing, and your clairsentience.
yeah.
So those are your two strong.
Definitely
Um,
the feeling when I was little, and I don't know if this is connected, but when I was little, I would always tell my mom like, "Oh, I have a bellyache," like if something was like wrong or
yes,
like something
yes.
like that. So I definitely feel the gut one for sure as well, or the solar plexus for sure
Yeah,
comes in.
because that's where we will feel our stresses through our strongest psychic abilities. So I would get headaches all the time as a child,
Ah,
and I'm strong in my clairvoyance.
wow.
So now I understand that. But yeah, I had a lot of migraines growing up. So that's where my stress came in, is through my head, my mind.
Huh.
So it's interesting that you connected your stress to your gut because it really is a thing. So it's usually the head or the gut for most people.
Mm,
It'll be one or the other. Although some people might experience it in other ways. But yeah, I think those are
mm.
the two most common. But yeah, that's your psychic
Sounds
abilities. Just yeah,
sounds
taking
and
it
that's
all in.
really cool just to talk about because I know a lot of our pain, like migraines you mentioned, or belly aches for me, we don't really
Mhm.
understand all the time why it's happening. And this is just kind of giving me another connection of one more thing that we can check in with ourselves and maybe, maybe it is connected to one of these chakras or one of these psychic abilities, and then how can we clear that energy once again,
Exactly.
clear and refresh, and
Yes.
and maybe that would be supportive for someone listening that does, because I know actually a lot of people do suffer from migraines. I am blessed, knock on wood, I've never not experienced one. I mean, obviously I've had headaches before, but not long term or chronic. So that's a really cool connection. Thank you for sharing that.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, like our chakras are definitely connected not only to our emotional, mental, and spiritual bodies, but through our physical bodies as well.
Mm.
All connected. So the chakras are very interesting energetic centers to kind of study and
Hmm.
learn about. So yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Going back to it's all connected.
it's
Um,
all connected.
so we're gonna start wrapping up, but I'm very curious as kind of the second to last question. I think that people have a lot of stereotypes and stigmas or like you said expectations about going to see a psychic or working with a medium or even the intuitive counseling. I think that we have a lot of stereotypes and expectations and a lot of thoughts on those that kind of work. I'm curious what you would like to share for people that, well, actually, I'm not even going to say it that way. What would you like to share about your work that you would love everyone to know?
So what I'd like to share about my work is that as a medium, I can connect people to the other side to bring healing and to help them on their healing journey after a loss. Okay. And that's my only job as a medium. Honestly, that is my only job as a medium, is to help somebody get through some of the grief and knowing that there's more to life than this physical world.
Mhm.
Okay. So I don't know if that answers your question, but that's really what I am why I'm doing this. It's to be of service to others. That's the only reason I'm doing this. And to come to see a medium with an open heart and an open mind and just allow the information to come through without making anything fit. Of course, you have to be able to validate the information that comes through, but not having your own expectations at the door, to leave that home and to just receive the information you're meant to receive for your highest good and healing. And the same with intuitive guidance. Um, I do this again to be of service, and I love helping people find guidance in their lives, and what their next steps might be. Although I always tell people, you have free will and you are in charge of your life. I'm just pointing you in different scenarios that could happen, that
Mm,
I'm feeling in your auric field, but you are ultimately in charge of your life. I'm very clear about this, and I love empowering people. I love letting people know that you have the ability and you can follow your intuition with your own journey.
mm,
But this is what I'm feeling. These are the paths that you could be taking in your life. Or
mm,
sometimes things will come up from the past that I will bring up because it's always meant to be brought up for healing.
mm.
And often that's connected to relationships where people might think, oh gosh, no, I haven't thought about that in years. Well, it's coming up for a reason. It's coming up for a reason. There's more belief systems connected to this relationship that you're holding on to. So I know I'm getting into all these different things, but honestly, I'm doing this work to be of service and to just come with an open heart and an open mind to a session. And that's what you'll get the most benefit that way
Mm,
from your
mm.
sessions. If you just, allow it to flow the way it's meant to.
I say that a lot in breathwork classes too, and I'm sure that it's just a great reminder in life, but especially doing kind of spiritual or energetic work is
Mhm.
remaining open and doing your best to let go of expectations. I always say in breathwork because people will come for a reason, and sometimes it's
Mhm,
just to
sure.
explore, but sometimes it is like I want to release this or I want to work through this, especially if you've
Yeah.
done breathwork journeys
Yeah.
before. Then you
Right.
get a little
Yes.
lofty and we're like, I
Yeah.
want to
Yeah.
heal my previous relationship wounds. And then something completely different will come up in your breathwork journey. And really, even if you have this intention, I would like to maybe touch on this, being as open as you can to what's going to come up and trusting, like you said, trusting whatever is coming up for a reason. And it is something to look at. And sometimes we might label that as like, oh, that was like years ago. That relationship
Yeah.
isn't important
Yeah.
anymore.
Exactly. I
But
get that
the small
often.
things,
It's
I'm
like,
sure.
listen, my job is to give you what I'm getting, right? I give the information I am given for the
Yeah.
highest good, because I always work in love and light, of course. So that is always my intent. And yeah, so it's kind of comical how some people will react. Or if your mother-in-law shows up at a mediumship reading, it's like, what the heck is she doing here? Well, listen, I'm just a messenger.
Yeah. I don't want to
She's
talk to
here
her.
for a reason. So that does happen.
I love
Uh,
that reminder. Before the last question, where can people learn more from you? Where can people connect with you? Obviously, you have such beautiful insights and gifts, so I would love to share wherever people can connect with you.
Yeah, I have a Facebook page, Spirit Connections and Healing. Okay. And I'm also on Instagram at Spirit Connections and Healing. And my website is Spirit Connections with an S and which is A-N-D Healing. So Spirit Connections S and Healing at or .com kind of thing. Yeah,
Perfect.
dot
And I
com.
will
Yeah.
link all of that down below too
That would be great. Thank you
for
so
the
much.
for the clicks, so it's a little bit easier. Um,
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I know that's okay. So, but some people listening, and they have good memories, which God bless you if you have a good memory and you can remember the
My
website.
website is long, so I'm like, thank God for the links.
No, it's good. It's good. So last question, if you could go back and gift your younger self a somatic tool or perspective that you use daily now, what would that be?
Trust your intuition.
Mm.
Simple as that. Trust your intuition. I look back sometimes and I think, yeah, I didn't listen. Do you see what I'm saying? Like we all have those experiences where we wish we would have listened to our inner radar. So yeah, trusting my intuition. That's what I would tell my younger self.
Mm, I
Yeah.
love that. Thank you so much, Monique. This was such a fun
Thank
conversation.
you.
Thank
That
you for
was
sharing.
awesome. I had a lot of fun with you today, Hannah, and thank you so much for having me on your platform.